Previously on DPS.
The reason why is I love it so much is because it kind of mimics God. God calls the unqualified and qualifies the chosen. And Diamond TV is all about that. It's about bringing out the best from the seemingly least expected people.
We're finally starting our challenges. There's 20 of you, and I will have to divide you in teams of 10. Each team must come up with a 24-minute TV show. This TV show must be climate smart. It must promote sustainable use of energy and must provide solutions to the climate situation of the country. We are looking at digging into your creativity and, above all, your innovation.
Global temperatures are rising. The ocean is getting warmer. The ice sheets are shrinking, snow cover retreating, sea levels rising, and, in the case of Zambia and other SADC countries this year, drought. The list is endless. All these are direct effects of climate change. Today, the contestants joined the multiple climate change ambassadors across the world to raise awareness on this issue. This is bigger than all of us. In Green New World, the contestants are split into teams of 10. Each team must create a 24-minute show tackling climate change on any of the following themes: renewable energy, climate finance, agriculture and food security, among other things.
The contestants will be judged on how well they research and put together informative and entertaining content.
So far, the task is a little bit challenging. It's challenging, and I think that's the beauty about it, because when something is a challenge, it puts you under pressure to make sure that you put in the best and bring out a good product. But for now, I would say it's challenging, it's fun, and I'm also just learning from the different people that are in my team.
So in this production, my role is a director. I've been selected to be the director of the team, that is Team Phoenix. We are called Team Phoenix. And as director, the role is fitting well. I think I'm able to hold down my team, and they're a really good team.
The people that were nervous, I feel like if they practiced more or rehearsed more, I feel like they didn't come prepared. Yesterday, we talked about, because we gave each and everyone segments, like 2 people got like a segment to work on. So we didn't want to babysit anyone, and we were just like, yo, go work on these segments at home, and then tomorrow everybody should just come with finished products that we are going to film. So I feel like the nerves came about because a lot of them didn't do that. They didn't go home and rehearse. They went home and just slept. So I feel like people are forgetting that this is a competition and you can never be caught slipping. If you're caught slipping, you will slip away and go home.
Coming up, are Costa and Jonah happy with the results? The work done in the past 48 hours leads the 2 teams here, the presentation room, where the team lead and producer or director have to convince Costa and Jonah why their work is worth making it to television.
Hello, Rachel and Tawana.
Hello, Jonah.
Welcome, Rachel and Tawana, to your first presentation. Kindly just outline your presentation for today.
Okay, so our presentation is titled Echo Watch. Obviously, based on the theme of the task, we were asked to create a show that highlights the challenges that are leading to climate change, and also to not focus so much on the problem, but also just zero in on the solutions, and also bring out innovative ways in which we can be able to produce bring out this product, which is the show. So what we did was we talked about plastic. We know that plastic waste has been a menace and has been a great contributor to climate degradation. So our focus was plastic waste, and how that, instead of it being a problem, it can now be turned into a solution. So we first of all talked about the problem. We went to the dump site where we saw what people do there in terms of picking up plastic in readiness for recycling. Then we talked to people that are making products from the plastic, such as pavers. And then we wanted to talk to everyone from the decision makers to the list, if there's such a thing, which are the children. That, in a nutshell, is what it is that we're going to present to you today.
I guess we'll ask a lot of these other questions after we take a preview of Echo Watch.
Plastic waste management is a critical issue that affects the well-being of our environment, communities, and prospects. In Zambia, like many other countries, we face significant problems with regards to plastic waste management. Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of Echo Watch, a show where we dive deep into environmental issues that matter to you. I'm your host, Suzanne Banda.
And I'm your host, Rachel Mumba. Indeed, plastic waste management has been a topical issue, as plastic waste or plastic pollution is a major contributor to environmental degradation, therefore making it a priority for the many people that would want to fight the devastating effect of climate change. On the program today, we're going to be bringing to the fore individuals and organizations that have taken interest in making sure that they sustainably manage the waste. Our colleagues were out and about in the field, and this is what they brought us.
The biggest dump site in Lusaka. Chingwere dump site contains the city's largest heaps of waste, and amongst that waste is recyclable goods, of which mainly consist of plastic. Lehman was on site to find out how these heaps of waste are being utilized in order for them not to affect the environment and ultimately the climate.
Right about now, I'm in Matera constituency at its biggest dumping site, a place commonly known as Kumalabo. Themselves, they also say Amalabo. I had a chance to speak to a few from the many people that collect plastic bags and plastic bottles. Is it for them to actually manage this place? Or maybe they are earning an income at a particular point. This is what I had to talk to with them. Tifuna funsa ko, hii program ya meni muna kuno Kumalabo ni business branch.
business tina kumala boni timadobheramo vizhala yochitalisa iko mkomboni monse.
So manje recycle ni vichani, ni madaipa, ni mabotro, ni maplastiki, ni vichani.
Tiyambira pamasaka, maplastiki na vigubu, mabaketi vonse.
So manje tikaboya kuri vimabaketi na vigubu na maplastiki. Vija muchache munga mufuno clean place orokapena ndiye mpazire omoyo mamino.
Ndimwe tsakira ndrama na clean place kuti tsakire komakoyi. Ndimwe tidgera muri veive.
Ndiye mamene mutiya mamene.
Plastic waste has been a problem and a challenge in Zambia, and indeed we have seen that it has a little bit increased according to the information that we have gotten from Mrs. Kasonde. So let's all ensure that we make sure that we use our plastic well. Let's practice recycling. And I have been Tawana. From me, it's back to the studio.
Hello, welcome to EcoWatch. I'm Tela Molikando, and on this segment, I am joined virtually by Miss Earth Zambia 2018, Miss Venus Vlahakis. Welcome to the show. Please tell us and talk to us about climate change and how it is affecting our community today.
Good afternoon, Ms. Likando. My name is Venus Vlahakis. I'm Miss Earth Zambia 2018. Thank you so much for having me today. So today, the topic we're discussing, which is plastic waste and its effects on the environment. So plastic has got various effects on the environment, such as contamination of our soil, contribution to various diseases because of the many plastics that are in landfills, our drainages are clogged with plastics, and just so many things that are coming up because of plastic pollution.
There we have it, viewers. Recycle today. Back to my fellow colleagues. Equipping the younger generations, especially school-going children, to be climate smart is one of the sustainable ways of preserving our environment. I'm at one of the schools in Lusaka just to talk to the pupils as well as the senior teachers on how best they're incorporating climate change to their today learning activities in order to ensure that children are well equipped to be climate smart. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mbere.
Thank you.
I'm here at Chadley House Secondary School, joined by one of the pupils just to get an overview of what exactly she understands by plastic pollution. Zara, so great to have you on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Zara, what do you think is the connection between plastic pollution and climate change?
So what I know about plastic pollution is that it has a very large impact on climate change, so that we at least are doing something to contribute to the situation.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah,
Thank you for having me.
Safe to know that even school-going children are taking part in the fight against mitigating the negative impacts of climate change and also plastic waste management. My name is Blessings Malenga. It's back to the studios.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. Be sure to join us next week as we explore more environmental issues. Right now we are going to go, but remember that you can catch us every Thursday at 14:30 hours right here on Diamond TV, DSTV channel 271 and GOTV channel 20. You can also catch up on the conversation via our official Facebook page, which is Diamond TV Zambia. Until then, take care and stay green.
Susan and Rachel, and this is Eco Technology Exchange, where we explore the world of technology and sustainability. And I am Miriam Semakata, or Mimi.
And I am Nelton Matali Felila. We get to dive with you into the fascinating world of sustainable plastic waste development.
One thing's definitely for sure. Costa and Jonah are taking their precious time understanding this product. That could be a bad thing, but we'll have to see what feedback they have for Taona and Rachel.
First things first, at about 19 minutes plus, the co-host and the host closed the program and we're told we'll see you next week. Then we're told, hold on, we've got another segment. How can we have a segment outside of the main show? Was that an editing error? What's going on?
That wasn't an editing error. I think that was a glitch on our end because we hadn't gotten the footage on time to. I take responsibility. I think I should have made sure that all the footage had arrived and that we had sequenced it in the right order.
I hate that excuse. I take responsibility because then that's trying to just sweep everything under the carpet. What happened? Because these two, Nelton and Miriam, come come up like they're
It's
an
a
accident.
different-
Like it's
like
it's a program in a program. To be honest, I was lost at the end of it all. So was it filmed late? What was really going on?
It was the last recording of that day in studio. Like I said, it was a mistake on set. She shouldn't have closed the show. We should have announced them and they should have closed the show.
But you had time to edit. Why didn't you insert that segment and close after that segment?
Is this the first time you're watching it?
No, I don't know. I honestly don't know what has happened here.
So for me, there's quite a number of things, really. There were two presenters in studio, and there were several segments that you guys put together. But the segments in the chunk of the show were very incoherent. Like, we needed... So the reason why there's anchors in the studio is to guide the show so that we understand what story is being told. But segments were moving from segment to segment in the field, and it was leaving the viewer hanging. Then why do we have the two main anchors in studio? They should open the program, give us what the overview is, but they should also guide us from one segment to the next. At the top of the program, Rachel and Suzanne were in studio. It was very bizarre. It was an awkward moment where Suzanne opens and then Rachel speaks, and there's no interaction between the two presenters. It's like they are in two...
No chemistry.
Yeah, no chemistry. It's like they're in two different places.
Studios or sets, yeah.
Because Suzanne introduced herself, you introduced yourself, and then you went straight to whatever segment you were introducing, but there was no chemistry, which is not very good. Also, on a positive note, I have to say the graphics were pretty decent, but the graphics were just stagnant and constant the whole time. It was just saying Echo Watch. I mean, I know I'm watching Echo Watch, but like, what is this? It should give me some context onto what I'm watching. If you don't want to do that, then we shouldn't have that big block of lower third constantly there. If it's there, then it needs to be telling me something. It needs to be giving me information and context. Because if I come through and it just says Echo Watch what? It should tell me what's going on. And you had several segments which were different from one another. So you should have made use of that. I think CVO has talked about the scripting bit of it. It could have been better because the story was not very well told, unfortunately. There were a lot of things that were not well bridged. And then that last bit also with Miriam and Nelton was just a bit, it seemed abrupt from the way it was placed in the program and from what they were saying. I think they warmed up as they were getting towards the end, but they were very shaky at the start of their presentation.
Thank you.
Fair points and arguments, but closing the show while a segment is pending might just cost them this round. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Time to see what Team Phoenix has in store for Costa.
So we prepared a show called Warming Realities, and this show basically on its own is a show that looks at climatic issues. So we didn't want to come up with a show and then we bring climatic issues under that show, but we decided to come up with a show that addresses the task itself. So
what's the format of this show?
So the format of the show, my producer can go ahead and give a breakdown on the format of the show.
You are what?
I'm the director.
Okay, so we have the in-studio guys, and then we have inserts from the ground.
This is a magazine show?
No, it's not a magazine show.
It's a reality show. So
It's not a reality.
Oh, not a reality show. It's just basically a show that is...
It's current affairs.
I thought the producer would be able to know, so...
It's current affairs. Let me see. So it's current affairs. So the inserts are where we went to, for example, we went to the farm in NRDC to talk to a crop scientist. So that's what the insert is for.
Okay, what is the name of this show?
Warming Realities.
Warming Realities. So who's the team lead?
Team lead is Matakala.
Okay, so the team lead is not here. Who's director and producer?
Yes.
So the both of you, are, when we ask questions about the composition of the team, are able to tell us.
Yes.
I guess we can watch.
The impacts of climate change are no longer a distant threat, but rather a harsh reality. From the rising temperatures to the devastating floods, and now a drought. Welcome to Warming Realities, a show where we delve deep into the core aspects of our environment to uncover truths about climate change and its impacts on our environment. My name is Matakala Matakala. It is no secret that the impacts of climate change are now in close proximity. From the ground up, we take a look at the impact that the recent drought has had on the Zambian agriculture sector as well as the Zambian food market. Watch this.
At the beginning of the farming season, Zambian farmers hold their breath, hoping for the elusive treasure, a bountiful rainy season. But this year, an unprecedented drought shocked Zambians, leaving farmers with withered crops, patched fields, and a sense of desperation. The low rainfalls, unpredictable weather patterns, and in some areas, no rainfall at all, has impacted the agricultural sector negatively. A shortage of milling meal due to low production of maize in the country, and anxiety about price fluctuations leaves the nation in disarray. We as Diamond Media took a trip to NRDC to speak to crop scientist Mr. Mufwaya and understand how they were managing to survive in this climate change.
I am in the premises of Natural Resources Development College, NRDC Zega Farms, where I'll be having a conversation with Mr. Mufwaya, a crop scientist and head of department of crop science. But before I hoop into the conversation, I'm gonna have to change into the right attire. Mr. Mufwaya, thank you so much for having us.
Mr. Mufwaya is okay. We will come to join me
All right,
to work.
thank you. Thank you so much. So speaking about the impacts of climate change on food security, what do you think are some of the threats that are supposed to be imposed in order to just end climate change or handle this situation?
Okay, so the first thing about climate change is that it is a shift in the normal weather patterns over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And this is exemplified more by changes in rainfall distribution, rainfall amounts, and the length of the rain season. And this now impacts both the onset, offset, as well as the quantity and the distribution of the rains.
Yeah.
Inasmuch as the irrigation system is seen as a sustainable farming solution, Mr. Mufwaya has alluded to the fact that the inconsistent power cuts make it difficult for them to carry out this activity. Now that we've seen where the production happens, it's now off to the markets to hear what the marketeers have to say about the fluctuating prices.
The recent change in climate has brought a tremendous impact on our day-to-day lives and food security. Factors such as fluctuating food prices have left much to be desired. I am here in Tendere Market and I'm here to purchase one or two things. The sudden rise in tomato prices about 2 to 3 weeks ago took the country by surprise. The question is where, when, and how did we get here? Joining me is Madam Delphine. Tomato paja inabola ya kwela, mtengo unabola wa kwela. Apa manje ya bwelera. Mchani vevilengesa.
Vilengesa mvula sinagwe bwino so paja tenzobenzo osebenzesa amanzi ya mvula so pochinja amanzi ya mvula kuti bambe manje kutirira manje yotirira vinaletesa vuto kuti vijava mine venzo kula na mvula sivinakule bwino so ndiye chenalengesa mbeo sizinakule bwino.
So nkani amanzi manje ni vichani vifunika vachitika manje pakuti vintu vikazikula bwino.
Manje ivo manje mpoziwa bafama isetima ona chabe vikabwera bafama ndiye matiuza kuti manzi ndiye avuta apa manje ativa minkwala zofaka mu machani chindiye zadula.
Toma kamba kuti iyo nkani ya bafama imwe nchito yani kugula che awe eskom batefuni.
Okay, eskom.
That's it from me, Catherine Kakuntat. Back to the studio.
Now we leave you with Emmanuel with climate tips. From me and Mike, it's goodbye.
And stay blessed.
Hello, my little Earth Troopers. Today, I'm hanging out with Chimwemwe.
And I'm hanging out with Emmanuel.
I love your energy, kid, but let's conserve it for later because I have a surprise for you. Before we move on to that, however, let's let's find out if our little Earth Trooper Chimwemwe has learned anything about climate change. So, Chimwemwe, what is climate change?
Climate change is when weather pattern in a place changes over a time.
Wow, over a very long time. That's amazing. That's a great answer. But do you know how to deal with climate change in a good way? Want to know a secret?
Yes.
Neither do I. But hey, I have a friend who can help us with that. Would you like to meet her?
Yes.
Okay, she's over there. Why don't you say hi?
Hi.
Hi, I'm Earth AI, an artificial intelligence. Welcome to my world. Emmanuel says you're interested in climate change.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with climate change. Also, what's an artificial intelligence?
That's easy. An artificial intelligence, AI, is technology that helps computers do things that usually need human smarts, like learning and solving problems. To help with climate change, I'll give you some tips to get you started, my little trooper. 1. Reduce energy consumption. Change.
My princess, where are you?
I guess it's time for us to go.
Oh, I'm sad.
I know, but you can visit me anytime you like. I'm always here to help. Make sure to spread the word when you go back out there.
I had fun. Did you?
Yeah, I had fun. I wish I could go back there.
Oh well, I guess we'll get to see you someday again. But you, my little princess, have some homework to do.
The show is over, but looking at Costa's expression, he doesn't seem to be impressed at all.
First of all, I've got a couple of questions. I see that some of the team members, like Wukata, some of the team members are not appearing there. You are not. Milimo, I could hear Mark was in the VO. What is that about?
The roles that were assigned, I felt like my stronghold was in directing, of which even the team members also agreed to say, no, I think Milimo can take up the directing part, because you understand the television a little bit better than everybody else. So I was in the background making sure that everybody else is on board and doing their part. And also as well, in the same manner, I'm also playing my part in the direct.
Okay. What about Wukata? What was she doing?
Wukata was a script writer, so she was in charge of coming up with the script, putting it up together, the format, and also doing the last minute text, because we had a hiccup where a guest was supposed to come on the show, but they didn't show up, and she was in charge because that was part of the script, but she had to change it to bring up somebody that would speak on the show, and that was the man that was on the call.
Okay. Anyway, let me just give a bit of feedback. For me, I always feel that every time people who are producing a show say that it's targeting everyone, it's a sign of laziness. Like, your show can't target everyone. You need to be specific to who you are looking at giving the show. So it's always like because again, it's very easy to target everyone. It's very easy to say that you're targeting everyone. It's like an escape. You're not targeting specific people, so we'll just leave it in limbo there. The other thing is the pleasantries. I've said this before. I always feel like for you, especially as director, I think these are some of the things you should be on the lookout for. Your show had way too many pleasantries, and that's the reason why it started feeling like a radio show. The opening was too long, the closing was too long, everything was just, the chit-chat in the studio was, people can talk in the studio for long, but they need to be having meaningful conversations. The pleasantries with the guest who was on the phone, whom you called, and you can see why pleasantries are a bad idea, because how are you, sir, welcome, and then he starts responding, and you don't know what to say after he says whatever he's saying.
Fair feedback from Jonah. Costa also brought out some professional insights to the group's representatives on what they did well and where they fell short. We seem to be getting a pattern here from the two teams, based on the feedback rendered to both. The incoherent storytelling, random locations, wrong guests, and to top it all, misplaced segments are nothing short of, how do I put this nicely, pathetic. However, all this is a learning curve, and what Costa is here to do is polish up these rough diamonds. Suffice to say, this is a competition, and the weakest links have to be sent home, unfortunately. If the contestants thought this is a competition, they had it all wrong. This is the jungle. You either eat or be eaten. Some dreams are about to be cut short because in the next few moments, 4 contestants will be sent packing home.
Contestants, welcome to the Elimination Center, your first elimination in this season of the Diamond TV Presenter Search. Your task this week has been to create a 24-minute TV show, one that is creative and compelling. And this must drive change towards people's perception of climate change, but also underscore an understanding of how big the problem is. The 2 teams were divided into 10 of each, and you decided that one will be called Hakuna Matata, and the other is Team Phoenix. Today, you presented the shows before the CVO and myself, and we took note of the shows that you presented. Approximately, the shows were 24 minutes, but it was 24 boring minutes. The 2 shows had to be creative. You had to create compelling content that should drive change and most of all, must be unconventional. It should be something new that we're witnessing.
Just like Jonah has said, we're looking for 24 minutes that were going to be creative. Unfortunately, whether it was by design, coincidence, or by agreement, that you both decided to take what we expected to be a non-conventional show, a creative and innovative show, both in studio with a format of field reporters. I think that was absolutely lazy, that 10 of you had a chance to think differently and creatively as 2 distinct groups. But I would like to speak to a number of specifics, starting with you, Matakala. You are team lead. Why were you not leading the presentation?
I was presenting.
You were not in the presentation room.
I was, sir. Oh, sorry. I do understand the question now. I wasn't in the presentation room because when George came to say 2 people will be needed in the presentation room, the director and the producer are the ones who are going in. And I felt the 2 people that held the positions of producer and director were given.
Who was ultimately calling the shot? Who was the team leader?
I was.
Who is supposed to represent the team?
I was.
So why were you not in the presentation room?
Because of the communication passed.
From who?
From George.
That's a major blunder. Because the leader is supposed to be in front and speak to the decisions and take responsibility as to why certain things have happened.
Noted.
Rachel, let's talk about the big mess.
Yes, sir.
You said you took responsibility. Equally, in your team, I believe there was Ndashi,
Yes, sir.
who did not feature, but all we could hear was her voice over.
Yes, sir.
I want an explanation right now as to who made that decision that we're not seeing this contestant in front of the camera.
Okay, so for Ndashi, it was first of all it came from her that because she had to be in and out of the place because she's had shows to attend to, so she said it because time was running and she decided to do the voiceover, and we did agree because then it meant that we're all going to be recording, and she also played another part in script writing, so we thought that was going to be enough, having her voice and also having her play the role of script writing.
She made a decision, or you made a decision that she does the narration because she's got other shows?
I didn't personally make the decision, but the team, as a team, collectively we made the decision.
She was too busy for the team?
I should say so, sir.
During the presentation, I asked you, in your group, who you thought was the weakest link or the person who did not contribute the most in your team. Who is this person?
I mentioned Ntalamo.
I feel I was let down by Ntelamo because from inception she was not a part of the team, because the idea was for us to work as a team to bring different ideas and put them together so that we can put out a product that is complete. But she kept leaving. She had one excuse or the other, and even when she came back the following day, we were hoping that Obviously, we understood the fact that she had to leave and she had something pressing, but we were hoping that when she does come back, she's going to be, for the fact that she was lagging behind, she was going to be the one very enthusiastic about this production. But to our disappointment, she actually was the first one to leave. And that also sort of destabilizes this entire production because she also has a very key role to play. And we're not sure how we can be able to just merge her role and make sure that this production is what it's supposed to be.
It would be a disservice to those people if we're to let her through to the next stage.
How many agree from Team Hakuna Matata that Ntelemo was a weak link and she contributed the least to your task this week? By a showing of your hands, how many agree? Ntelemo, step up and exchange positions with Penla. You contributed the least, and most of your team members do agree with that. Justify.
Where do I begin? I would like to start off by saying that was not my intention. I would like to believe maybe it was a bit selfish, but...
On whose part?
On my part, especially since this was a group presentation. I would like to believe I was kind of focusing more so on my role and what I could be able to do. Seemed a bit selfish, but I think maybe that's where the problem was.
Do you agree with what your team members are saying, that you didn't care, you didn't participate?
I don't think I agree when they say I didn't care. I do care. I think maybe I'm just, what's the word?
Did you participate fully?
I'd like to believe
Are
I did
you ready?
my part.
Do you want this? Are you ready to be part of a team?
I do want
So what
this.
justification do you give that all your team members say that you were the least contributing contestant or team player in Team Hakuna Matata?
I just believe there was a lot of miscommunication, and perhaps maybe I should have communicated more with them in regards to what I was doing with myself, because the truth is I wasn't really as communicative, so to say, with them.
Why is that?
Perhaps maybe it's because, I don't know, I guess I was kind of putting myself in a little corner, which wasn't okay because this is a group presentation. But I guess I was wrong to just mainly focus on what I was trying to do. I should have communicated with them. I should have been more involved when they're sitting down and doing their parts. I guess I was just focusing on my stuff.
Well, we'll get to see about that. Team lead for Team Phoenix. You were not in the presentation room. Mark and Milimo, you made the presentation. You reported to us that your weakest link in your team was Billy, correct?
For most parts, he was not involved. I spoke to him as a leader, and maybe what threw him off was the fact that when he was trying to get hold of the person he would interview, the person didn't pick up. And so I do agree with him.
Billy, kindly step up and change positions with Taona. You may hand him the mic. Billy.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
You have been put up as the weakest link in your team. Defend yourself or justify why you are not the weakest link.
Sir, I am not the weakest link. This is because the time my team leader noticed my silence, I was actually trying to make arrangements for a host that we were supposed to have in my field of presentation. And so by the time I was away from the group for most of the minutes and trying to make phone calls and try to get in touch with the host that would be...
The guest.
Yeah, the guest. Thank you.
Are you nervous?
I am, sir.
Please, relax, take a breath.
Thank you, sir.
Are we good now?
We are.
I feel Billy is a bit of a weakness for the team because he's always absent-minded. He has to be pulled in the group to be made to feel to say, look, we're a team, we're doing this as a group. In as much as we are here to compete individually, we are still going to be here as a group since it's teamwork. So I think he's a lag in the group.
I am not the weakest link in that, although I may not really point out who and who, during our preparations, I did a lot of encouragement to most of my teams. I reignited their spirits. Most of them who
Was
were...
that your job, to be a cheerleader?
I was not.
They're talking about your participation insofar as your segment is concerned. Did you do your part?
I did my part, sir.
Team Phoenix, by a show of hands, who agrees that Billy is the weakest link? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who disagrees that Billy is not the weakest link? Team Phoenix, who disagrees? So your colleagues still feel that you're the weakest link. Your job was to cheer them and give them encouragement.
No, sir.
The prize is that one of you will have to be employed to be part of this team. And you need to show me and show us that you're ready to work as part of a team, that you're not a person who continues to give excuses, you're not a person who comes here to give me crybaby excuse of, oh, just being selfish. Come on. This is business, it's got deadlines, and it's got targets. Ntelemo, Billy, you're up for elimination. So, other than that, I'm told there are people who seemingly are busy, and we cannot work with individuals that seemingly have no time for the competition.
At the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people just had a lot of nerves, so a couple of people underperformed, looking at the fact that some of them were saying it was their first time in front of the camera and it was their first time interviewing people or talking to people, so they didn't know how to go about it, but we did try to help them out. So I'm not gonna mention names, because if I mention names, it's gonna be a lot of names that I have to mention, but I'll just leave it at it was a couple of people, but at the end of the day, they managed to get through it.
Other than that, there were a number of individuals that caught our eye, and when I say caught our eye, it's on the basis of underperformance. And I'll need the following individuals to actually step up. One of you should pick up either mics and exchange positions with the people in front. Penelope or Penelope? Which one? How do you pronounce your name? Penelope, kindly step up and take Rachel's position. Blessings, kindly step up and take Wukata's position. Taona, kindly step up and take Matakala's position. Catherine, kindly step up and take Suzanne's position. Billy, kindly step up and change positions with Miriam. Ruvarashe, kindly step up. Penelope, you can get the microphone. You were doing a segment regarding the recycling of plastic material and transforming it into pavers. Correct?
Yes, sir.
When you went into the field, what type of an interview did you intend to do?
So you'd forgive me because this is the first time I'm doing this, so I don't know if...
I will not forgive you because it was not my choice. It was your choice to come to present as such,
Yes.
whether first time or 10th time. Catherine, what a mess of an interview. Do you remember what you were doing? Do you remember your interview?
Yes, I do.
What was it all about?
It was about food security.
Did your interview correlate climate change and the price of tomatoes?
Not entirely.
What
sir.
did your guest or your source tell you?
She was mainly talking about her business and
But
how it's been
did she
faring.
tell you that you're asking me the wrong questions? I'm not the farmer, I just buy. Did she tell you that?
Yes, at
And
the
how
very
did you
end.
respond then as the journalist or as the person looking for answers?
Unfortunately, I agreed with her. I agreed with her.
So what does that show you? That you're clueless then as the person who's seeking to give us, the audience, information?
No, sir.
That's what it entails. And as a reporter, as a presenter, when you're going to the field, you're communicating to the audience, you're saying the objective of the show is to teach us or to educate us, simply makes us as presenters look clueless, in short, stupid. And so, again, it fails you on that aspect.
Our mindset needs to change. It's like there are certain things that we're prioritizing and we're not prioritizing what is actually going on. I feel like certain people have other agendas apart from this. It's like some of us are not as hungry for it as we should, so that is costing us a lot.
All of you signed consent forms, I believe, to participate and dedicate your time in the next few weeks to be part of this production. It also happens, like Jonah has said, that even when you're employed, we expect that if you're part of the newsroom, you're part of the production team, such a production like DPS, irregardless, Rachel, whether it's 22 hours, irregardless that I'm a mother or father, you cannot tell me I left while the program was halfway and then there was a mistake for viewers to see. We always consider what we put in air as an aircraft that's already up in flight. It's dangerous. Imagine a pilot that disembarks midway in flight and says, I'm tired, and leaves his or her passengers lagging. So take note of that. For that reason, unfortunately, colleagues, the first person we're eliminating today is Ndashi, because we cannot continue with a person who ultimately leaves because they've got other responsibilities, which I believe then are more important than what we're trying to do here. Because in the middle of a production, in the middle of a presentation where we'll need them, they will bail out on us because there's something a bit more important. And we want you to value this and show us that you want it just like the 19 others. So Ndashi becomes the first contestant to leave the Diamond TV presenter search. Unfortunately, colleagues, after analyzing both what the team members of each of the two teams are saying and watching the output of the presentations, Telemo, this is where your road ends for you as well. Thank you so much for coming through, but unfortunately, you have to be eliminated as well. You may step out. Again, after careful consideration of both output, team performance, team effort, and showing up, unfortunately, Billy, your road on the Diamond TV Presenter Search Season 5 ends now. Thank you for coming, and we wish you all the best. Madam, step up. Unfortunately for you, Catherine, the road for your DPS Season 5 ends here.
With Catherine being the fourth to be eliminated, it should be clear by now to the contestants that the stakes are pretty high. To the remaining 14, be tough. That's what they said, the people. On to the next task.
Contestants, we move on to your second task. We will maintain the teams Phoenix and Hakuna Matata, but with a few alterations. Contestants, these are the two teams. The team on my left is Team Phoenix, and the team on my right is Hakuna Matata. These two teams must each come up with a show. This episode is called Zambia Kuchalo. What you are doing is promoting Zambia to the rest of the 4 countries in which we broadcast. As you may be aware, Diamond TV is broadcasting to 5 different countries. You will use this opportunity to market this country to these countries and have them consume Zambian content because it is good. Your 24-minute show will be creative, will be compelling, but above all, must market Zambia to the world. Is this clear? Contestants, all the best.